What's going on, guys? Wanted to fire the camera up and share a new tool day with you here in the shop, which some of you may know from previous videos is easily one of my favorite days here in the shop. And I'm sure most of you will agree. It's always nice to get a new tool, especially if it's something that can potentially save you some money, some time, or some effort. And I think this is one of those tools that will easily do all three. And this is actually something I've been wanting to get for quite some time, although I didn't really have a specific brand in mind. I know that I could greatly benefit from a horizontal and vertical cutting bandsaw. And I'm sure, like most of you, I definitely have considered the import brands. The Harbor Freight 4x6 is kind of a standard saw for a lot of guys. You can get them for $200 to $250 brand new. And I've seen them used even down to less than $100 in the past. But it really wasn't anything in the forefront of my mind here lately, and I've certainly got other things I could be spending money on. But I do occasionally browse the local classifieds and the Craigslist tool section, and just kind of keep an eye out for any good deals. And I happened upon an ad for this, and the guy was asking about $400 for it. And just kind of on a whim, or because it never hurts to ask, I offered him about half of that, and he came back and said he'd take $250, which again is kind of the brand new cost of the cheaper, stamped metal import saws. So I just couldn't hardly resist that. I had a little bit of extra cash on me from the sale of a couple knives, and recently had a birthday, and the guy was just down the road from me, just a couple miles away, so everything just kind of really came together at the right time for this, and ended up going over there and picking it up. And to be honest with you, I'm really pleasantly surprised, not only in the condition, which he said was excellent to begin with, but it's got a couple of extra things on it that I really wasn't anticipating, and I think I'm really going to enjoy. So for those of you who are curious, this is a Wellsaw model 58B. I don't know how well that'll show up from this distance, but they are an American company. This is American-made steel, so I know from the bat I'm getting a quality tool to begin with. And they're actually not too far from here, just over the state line, about 2 hours away in Three Rivers, Michigan. They've been around, from my understanding, for quite some time, and some would say they're one of the industry standards, I think, for horizontal and vertical cutting bandsaws. And this one, it's not the smallest model they make, but it is, I think, what they consider a portable saw. And brand new, they are still making these, still making this model with maybe a couple slight variations, but brand new, these things are quite expensive, and some of you may know what they cost. I don't have the exact number on the top of my head, but they're several times more than I paid for this one. And like I say, I didn't pay any more for this than I would have for an import model. So got a little bit of rust on it, a little bit of wear here or there. I'm going to have to take a look at the guide bearings, the rollers, and a couple of different things, maybe see if they could stand a little bit of lube or possible replacement. But overall, I think I got a pretty good saw. I don't have the capacities off the top of my head, but it does have some nice features on it. It has a mitering vise that'll go 45 degrees, up to 45 degrees in one direction there. And these go all the way vertical. And I will say I read on some machinist forums, I guess some guys have had troubles putting these in vertical positions and having them almost tip over, or actually tip over on them. This one has the wheelbase on it, so it'd really take quite a bit for this thing to lean over. And I'd probably be sitting here anyway when I'm doing the vertical work, so that shouldn't be a problem. But one thing it came with that I really wasn't anticipating, or wasn't mentioned in the ad, it does have a little table for horizontal work. Quickly and easily bolts into place there, and I don't have the bolts loosened up, but you know, that's really going to come in handy for a lot of things I do. Obviously a much larger capacity than the bench-mounted portaband I've been using. So I'm really excited about that, and you know, that'll probably be the majority of how this saw is used. But it does seem to be set up pretty well for tension. You know, it tilts and leans pretty easily. You can see it's going to start going down slowly. And I could probably adjust the saw there, you know, the spring a little bit if I wanted to cut a little faster, but you know, I think that should be fine. And got a simple little plunger there for auto on or auto off. Go ahead and put that back up there. Got a little stop there to hold it in the up position. And then of course you got your quick close and open vise, which is definitely convenient. Maybe I have to tighten that pivot up a little bit. But certainly a nice feature. Little chip tray or maybe coolant or oil tray, kind of catch some of that, and you know, keep it from going all over the floor. And then I think we got probably a 3-speed pulley in there. Again, I don't have the specs off the top of my head for speeds and feeds. We got a nice little work light, probably needs a new bulb. And you know, really that's about it. I'll probably put a new longer cord on that just for convenience, although maybe I'll just use an extension cord. Gotta clean the chip tray out. Got a nice heavy spring back there. I think that's a 1/2 horse motor on it. And then you can see the little gear at the end of my finger there, or kind of spur gear with the call on it to you know, keep it vertical at different positions. And I know I can look up the age based on the serial number there. I'm not sure how old this is. I would guess, you know, maybe around 70s. Still seems like it's pretty good shape. You know, a little bit of rust. Could stand maybe a new paint job or so, but you know, overall it's just a really solid machine. Quality American-made steel. And definitely a welcome addition to the shop. Now I don't have a cord to plug it in or, you know, anything to cut or show you, and I'm going to go ahead and, you know, kind of open everything up. You know, make sure everything's looking good before I get too carried away here. Maybe take these guides out, polish them up a little bit. You know, I noticed they were a little hard to move. And overall, I just really like to clean it up, you know, oil it up, maybe polish it up a little bit, and probably dial it in, make some adjustments just to know that I'm getting a clean square cut. And I don't know how long that blade's going to last, how long it's been on here. I may need to buy a couple more of those, but when I do get everything cleaned up, I'll go ahead and probably make some videos and show you guys how this works, both in the horizontal cutoff position and maybe in the vertical setup as well. But at any rate, I don't want to drag this on for too much longer. We're getting close to the 10-minute mark, so just thought I'd share that with you guys, and you know, I'm hoping this will be one of the more useful tools to show up in the shop here lately. And you may see in the background there, just as a side note, that's another new tool that I recently acquired, a little pantograph router. Still got a little bit of work to do on that to get it usable, but you know, you guys can maybe expect some videos on that coming up too. But anyway, that's about it, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.